Welcome to Chapter 14, Voice of Paradise. This is the first map since we got access to the Tier 2 shops, which allows us to buy a brand new treasure for Nyx, the Shining Bow. We're finally deploying her again after 2 maps, but because of this, she's a little under level compared to the rest of our squad. Even Perry, who joined at level 10 and hasn't been deployed since her join map, is higher level than her. That ends up working to our advantage in this case. Part of the difficulty in this map comes from the enemy Sky Knights. Even ignoring the ones in the middle of the map, there are a group of Sky Knights at the front, and a group of reinforcement Kinshi Knights that'll come in from the back. They have much more maneuverability than you thanks to the layout of the map, so if you're not careful, they'll catch you in a pincer before you have a chance to fight back. They're somewhat difficult to fight on enemy phase because they have a combination of 1 and 2 range, and the Kinshis are fast, bulky, and start right up. You have to player phase at least some of them no matter what, which means having a team of strong bow users is paramount. Nyx, Mozu, and Niles remain team staples, and we've even added another bow user to our army, Laslow, who was early promoted into Bow Knight at level 13. If you're planning to use Laslow as a support unit, an early promotion is what I would recommend for him. It allows him to pick up useful rally skills early thanks to his low internal level, and the extra movement and bow access is a massive upgrade for him. In my case, I don't plan to use Laslow long term, so the early promotion was just to let him contribute more while he's here, to potentially pick up rally skill relatively quickly to increase our reliability. Now seems like a good time to mention that, just for fun, I've decided to go for full recruitment this playthrough. That means I have to get every first generation male that can support an S-support, as well as Corrin and Azura. Laslow, for example, wants to S-support Charlotte, though that's more for his wife and daughter's sake than his own. To accommodate for this, some team staples that still need to build support like Selena, Silas, and Kaze are temporarily benched. Expect my team layout to rotate frequently for similar reasons. Chapter 14 is the join map of Leo, who I'd like to shout out for being another popular option for Nyx's spells, for basically the same reasons as Odin. Compared to Odin, Leo gives Troubadour instead of Samurai, which is niche, but fun. Also, since Leo joins later, he isn't held back by Nyx being benched for 2 maps. If you want to use Leo's son, Forest, as a combat unit, Nyx is one of the best options for his mom because of her spectacular magic and speed inheritance. While not my favorite option for either Nyx or Leo, it's a very respectable pairing, and a good choice if either of their other preferred partners are wearing someone else in your playthrough. The other major change to our army is Jakob. I friendship sealed him into Great Knight, and he's already attained all 4 skills from that class. Elbow Room and Shelter are phenomenal, and Armor Blow, while niche, is useful on Jakob specifically because he gets it so early. Nyx herself is very easily able to contribute to this map in her current state. However, let's think ahead of it. Shining Bow is an excellent weapon. It's 13 might, 1-2 range, and uses magic instead of strength. However, it has one major flaw, a mere 70 hit, which is, quite frankly, bad. You can get around it for now by making heavy use of Heartseeker, but that won't work forever. One way to help Nyx's hit is to friendship seal into Archer, eventually promoted to Sniper. Archer has very respectable hit rates, especially with skill +2, and Sniper is an innate +10 hit bonus. That alone gives Sniper a whopping 19 extra hit compared to Adventurer, which is insane, and pretty much makes up for Lucky 7 on its own. To top it all off, it also learns Certain Blow at level 5, which basically ensures Nyx will never see less than 100% hit rate on player phase. That's a very valuable strategy. In fact, it's very possible to reclass directly into Archer from Dark Mage, build up to D bows by one-rounding flyers on this and the previous map, then arm scroll up to C for Shining Bow access. That misses out on move +1, but depending on your early Heartseeker economy, it might be the right move regardless. But in our case, since we're training so many units, our friendship seal economy is a little tight. So we're doing something a little different. Namely, we're early promoting Nyx. Bow Knight is an alright option, in spite of my conspicuously not mentioning it in episode 1. More move, more hit, and more bulk are all very nice to have. I find its most valuable niche tends to be getting Shuriken Breaker level 15, but that's not relevant for a long time. Chapter 25 to be exact. In our case, though, we want to adventure, for 3 reasons. 1. The extra magic is useful, especially to hit benchmarks against especially resistant enemies like Master Ninjas. 2. At this point in the game, I tend to like healers. Elise in the first servant are typically either reglassed or benched, so Nyx's newfound staff access fills a much needed niche that could otherwise only reasonably be filled by a captured Shrine Maiden. 3. And this is the big one, Lucky 7. +20 hit on the first 7 turns is huge, especially with efficient play, as it tends to be active for the majority of, if not the entire map. It's also active on enemy phase, unlike Certain Blow, which is very valuable on maps like Chapter 17 and 24.
Very annoying.
I happen to promote this Nyx at level 13, so she's still at a good place in the level curve, so getting Lucky 7 before the Ninja Cave shouldn't be much trouble. If you'd like to, and you have a paralog or 2 lined up, free to promote her a little later. If you're worried about the early promotion ruining her late game performance, don't be. Nyx's stats are unlikely to be very affected by when you promote her. Her HP and defense will never be enough to make her a real tank. Her strength doesn't matter. Her resistance only matters on 1, maybe 2 maps in the entire game. And her skill and luck are made up for by hit boosting skills like Lucky 7 and Certain Blow. That leaves the only 2 stats Nyx actually cares about: magic and speed. Her personal growths in those stats are about 50%, which are excellent, and she'll be spending time in classes like Outlaw, Adventurer, Sniper, and Kinshi Knight, which all have great speed growths themselves. However, except for Adventurer, none of those have good magic growths, so while your speed is basically secured no matter what, it is possible to get a magic screwed Nyx. This tends not to matter. A lot of Nyx's damage output actually doesn't come from her magic growth at all. She has a great magic base and malefic aura, and when promoted, she's either an Adventurer, which has a great magic base of its own, or one of Archer's promotions, which have quick draw. Plus, the Shining Bow has 13 might. Even if your Nyx does get magic screwed, she'll one-run regardless. In my opinion, Nyx gets more value out of getting Lucky 7 early than the 3.5 extra points of magic she'd get by staying an Outlaw until level 20. Worst, you might have to spend a magic tonic or 2 on her, but that's about it. If you're wondering why I'm okay with early promoting into Adventurer but not Dark Knight, remember that Nyx gains basically nothing from getting Steel Magic early, and Dark Knight is just a bad class for her in general. In any case, with our freshly promoted Nyx, it's time to sweep Kumagera's army with ease. We're recruiting Keaton turn 1 so he doesn't draw the enemy's ire. With his pair up and an inspiring song buff, Corrin gets the speed to one-round archers with the 11 sword. Nyx will fight the Sky Knight pair on enemy phase, while Heartseeker improves her hit rates. Even though Nyx is by and large a player phase unit, she can enemy phase when you need her to. Her bulk is abysmal, but she can tank at least 1 hit, and a lot of the time, that's all you need. Especially if you're making an effort to clear up most of the enemies on player phase. The Shining Bow's 1-2 range makes her arguably better at this than some 1-range locked units. Case in point, she ends up counterattacking in both 1 and 2 range this clear. Leo takes the bronze sword from Camilla, though he won't actually use it until the very end of the map. His positioning limits where the Sky Knight pair can move. Jakob is so bulky that getting hexed doesn't affect him at all. Rose's Thorns and Effie's Daring Meal let him one-shot the Samurai and Sky Knights he's fighting, which is excellent, as it ensures the paired up Sky Knights attack the target with less defense, Nyx in our case.
Yes!
I've unequipped Quick Draw for Mozu to let Nyx get this dual strike in. She equips the Iron Bow for perfect accuracy. I'm very fond of this specific positioning. Lets a good bow user kill the Hexing Rod Tribe main and one round the archers on enemy phase, while keeping them safe from the Oni savages. Jakob and Camilla can build some more weapon rank off the Sky Knight. If you're wondering if I'm actually going to use Camilla's stone rank for anything, great question. Anyway, Jakob wants to keep training his axe rank because he's eventually marrying Camilla and going to Malignite. That's part of the reason he prefers Great Knight over Paladin in this case. Leo takes the iron bow to pass it back to Mozu. We don't care about freeze, but enfeeble is deadly, so Mozu kills the Shrine Maiden now. For some bizarre reason, if we do nothing from this point, this Sky Knight will attack and break Mozu's guard gauge, resulting in her death, despite dealing 0 damage. The AI normally doesn't attack when it sees 0 in this game for any reason, and it doesn't take guard gauge into account, so I have no idea why this is the case. Zepti's and my running theory is that this is a combination of it wanting to contribute to dual strike and the AI just being weird when it sees lethal damage. To ensure they don't see lethal, we need to increase Mozu's defense somehow. Jakob accomplishes this by applying Jantiolm. Corrin normally just got frozen. She's no longer adjacent to Keaton, so she just stays where she is. Charlotte just barely survives with an HP and defense tonic. She needs a speed tonic too, because the Sky Knight has Darty Blow, and she'd get doubled otherwise. It's a good thing she doesn't kill, otherwise she'd free up the space for another Oni Savage to take her out.
Well, of course.
The swordcatcher Sky Knight must move due west, otherwise it's a reset. The Steel Knight and the Sky Knight can go either way. Meanwhile, the Kinshi Knight reinforcements have appeared. Niles and Nyx will greet them with an arrow to the face. Charlotte's personal skill Unmask lets her get the kill against the Sky Knight with her dual strike.
quiet.
Nyx shows off her newfound healing abilities, though in this case a vulnerary would have sufficed. Staff users are less important the better the game you get, but having at least one is almost always a very good idea. Because Heartseeker isn't active, Nyx's accuracy against Kinchi Knight is pretty unfortunate. But because the Shining Bow is so strong, we're able to pull off a maneuver similar to what we did in Chapter 10, by giving her 2 chances to hit the one-shot. Inspiring Song and Keaton's parrot bonuses let us double. Our chances of success are over 95%. 39 might, I cannot stress this enough, 39 might against flyers is insane. Even the Kinshi's sky-high HP and resistance aren't enough to stop it. The only reason Niles is able to keep up is because he's holding the bronze build +2. I abuse the fact that Freeze AI prefers to target people it thinks are in enemy range to ensure Mozu's group stays unfrozen. Laslow and Charlotte don't need to move anyway. It's turn 5, so Odd Shaped is active, letting Keaton get the one-shot with a more accurate weapon. Mozu passes the chest key to Jakob, who later passes it to Odin. It's not this chest that'll open, however.
All right. Appearances can be Corrin and Camilla are both using their strongest weapons to let Corrin get some extra experience by getting the kill with their dual strike against the Onis on enemy phase. What's nice is that they still have 100% accuracy despite using less accurate weapons. Charlotte and Laslow are usually both frozen, so they can't do much right now. They can switch places at least, to let Charlotte use the more accurate weapon against the Shrine Maiden next turn. Not that it matters, since Laslow's dual strike would have killed if she missed anyway. Camilla attacks with Corrin's dual strike while adjacent to Jakob, to get the last support points she needs with both partners at the same time.
This is my chance!
Nyx and Odin haven't started on their support yet this map, so they'll take on these Onis. Nyx's para bonuses help out a ton. Even though my Odin is even slower than these Oni savages, the +5 speed she's giving combined with an inspiring song boost allows him to double them all the same. +1 magic she's giving lets him use a weapon that can't crit, too. Charlotte gives Camilla a more accurate weapon. Camilla lunges to ensure she can counterattack Kumagera on enemy phase. We trade Leo to Brynhildr so Kagero doesn't attack him. Niles captures the boss. I find I don't use Kagero as much as Hitaka, since at this point of the game, my team can handle itself fine without him, and he doesn't offer any useful utility like rally defense outside of shove. But he's a huge ball of stats, so he can be a worthwhile capture regardless. With that map complete, Nyx has finally completed her A support with Mozu, and can head in the Archer class line at any time. Though we could have gotten there 2 maps earlier if we didn't bench Nyx at that point. My original scope for this playthrough, this is where the series would have ended. I've accomplished my goal of showing off how Nyx's early game training arc is actually shockingly easy going for her, and drawn attention to some oft-dismissed builds that I think are legitimately worthwhile. But we're entering the mid-game, which is, in my opinion, the actual hardest part of the game for Nyx. Our team is ill-equipped for all-encompassing player-based strategies yet, and Nyx is still yearning for flight and hit-stacking skills, so consider this a sort of Season 1 finale, if you will. But I'm establishing a hard cutoff point for this series, Chapter 20, Fuga's Wild Ride. Uploads might get slightly more infrequent from this point as I shift my focus to other projects, but I will finish this playthrough, mark my words, so stay notified. Anyway, we're not allowed to deploy Nyx on Chapter 15, so next up is Chapter 16, Adventurer Meets Adventurer. Watch as Nyx brings Churro's pirate gang to their knees.